is something pretty remarkable.
This is my movie.
These are our stories.
I am Real Works.
Are you recording right now?
It ruined my life because I lost my mother.
We were really at the age where it was going to affect us the most.
Listen to my story.
This is my story.
Get inspired by us teens.
This is where I can tell my story. Where teens from New York are given a voice. This is Real Works.
Welcome to Real Works. I'm Byron. This week we bring you 3 stories of people forced to move on from tragedy in order to find peace in their own lives. Natalie Price was 15 when she lost her mom to a drug overdose. Shortly afterwards, she came to Real Works to create a film cherishing the memories of the good and the bad times she had with her mother, Helena.
Your mother was really a beautiful girl.
She was a kind, caring person.
She was a very giving person. She'd give a stranger the shirt off her back.
She was always so bubbly and smiley.
Helena had the biggest heart of gold.
She was a little wacky, but a fun kind of wacky.
She had a beautiful daughter that she loved, and she wanted to raise her to be a fine young lady. And why she kept with the drugs, nobody knows why. The only one that knows why is her. And she's not here now to tell us why.
When I was 10, 11 years old, I actually could understand what she was doing, that she was taking drugs. And that made me lose a lot of trust in her because I felt like if my mother doesn't care enough about me to stop doing drugs, then I'm not worth anything and no one's gonna care about me ever.
When she would come to pick you up again, she would show up high and you would come up to me and say, "Daddy, Mommy's downstairs and she don't look good." And I would go down and see her high again.
She just always thought I was an idiot. She thought everyone was an idiot. She didn't get that people knew what she was doing.
You've had it really tough since the age of 9, 10 years old when she really started taking these painkillers and drugs.
My sister somehow got into this, your mom, she got into this thing where they were just giving her medication and just giving it to her and she wouldn't tell anyone.
She'll get a refill of 120 and another 120.
I always used to tell her, Helen, watch what you take and watch what you getting these pills from the doctor.
I used to have to help her across the street, like when she would be really high and stumbling, and I just felt like I always had to take care of her in some sense.
Sometimes she couldn't even get out of bed because she just tried to lift herself up. She couldn't get up.
It was heartbreaking, but you know, we tried to talk to her and everything.
Everybody tried to help her family, me, her husband.
I couldn't stop her. I couldn't stop because they're all prescribed.
I said to myself, I did all I could. I spoke to her every day. I begged with her. I said, Helen, please, please, Helen.
She would always say, oh, I'm going to, go get help or whatever, and she would go to the hospital. 3 days later, she'd be let out.
I say, where are you? And she'll say, I'm home. I said, what? I said, Helen, you should have stayed there.
She would come to school like really high and pick me up, and it was just really embarrassing.
I heard from a neighbor that she was picking you up from school high. So I went up there and witnessed it myself, and she was pretty bad. She was in bad shape.
When I first moved in with my dad, I was like a wreck. I went to therapy for a while because I was really sad and I really just missed her.
I think if she knew the pain that she caused you, maybe that would have helped a bit, made her stop.
I felt like maybe I wasn't enough for her, to make her happy, because if she had to take these pills and if she was so depressed, it made me feel like maybe I wasn't enough, I always thought that she would stop eventually when she realized what it was doing to me.
It happened about 4:30 in the morning where I found her.
He started to cry. And I said, what's wrong? what's the matter? Is something wrong with Helen? He says, yeah, she died during the night or this morning. You know what I'm saying? I said, what?
And I says, Ma, what's up? She goes, well, she did it. I says, who's she? Your sister. She finally killed herself.
All I was worried about was how I was going to tell you.
My initial reaction was just shock, like complete numbness. How did this happen? She can't be dead, you know, I was in complete denial. And then when I started to think about it, all I could feel was guilt. Because a few days before that, she had called me slurring on the phone, and I couldn't understand her. She had done that so many times, and I was annoyed, I was fed up, you know, I told her not to ever call me again, that I didn't want to talk to her, that she was a loser and she ruined my life. And I just basically screamed at her. And then 2 days later, she died. Part of me is always going to feel like I killed her in a way. Like she felt like she had nothing to live for without me, and I just wanted to cut her out of my life. I'm just starting to accept now that my mother died, and it's a year after she died.
We all miss her. We all miss her very much, especially her mom. That's the one I feel bad for.
It was a very sad story, and she was too young, yeah.
I miss her with all my heart. I really do. Sorry.
I try to stay numb to it so bad, like I try so hard, but it's just catching up with me pretty much.
She wasn't a bad person. She just had a problem.
I'm never gonna see her again. I'm never gonna be able to talk to her about this. I'm never gonna be able to say, Mom, I understand, I forgive you. I just hate that she died thinking that I hated her, because I didn't hate her, I just didn't understand. And I understand now, but it's too late. So now I just feel that it's okay to be conflicted. It's okay to feel angry, it's okay to feel sad, frustrated, heartbroken in a way, you know. It's okay to miss her, it's okay to love her, it's okay to hate her, it's okay to be just really torn about everything, and it's okay to just not know and to just try to figure things out.
Wyatt Maker lost his brother to gun violence. How did he and his family find the strength to come together and survive the loss? Holding Up is next.
I'm proud of my brother. I'm proud of Mac. I'm proud of all the things that he's accomplished. I'm proud of the man that he was starting to be. I'm proud of all the things he's done. Even through the bad times that me and him had, I will always love him. I will always love him. Always, Wyatt.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, no, Mac. Oh. When we think about your brother, the first thing that comes to mind is just his smile. And him and I, growing up, we fought brother and sister. Like, we were ready to kill each other at points. And I'm making fun of his smile, about how big it was, and just back and forth. And that was just the most brilliant thing about him.
A charismatic, handsome, funny, intelligent, and carefree young man.
He loved video games, anything that was enjoyable, that made him laugh, that made others laugh.
As a person who was not afraid to tell the truth. Courageous.
He was a fun kid. He was funny.
Mac was very bright and could have made quite a contribution to humanity.
My brother Leroy was always a bright kid. Everybody called him Mac, and everybody loved him. As a teenager, he began to hang out with the wrong crowd. the kind of people who would just make some bad choices. After some time, he wanted to get away from these people and change his life. He got his own apartment and began a career in the printing business.
Everything was finally falling into place when this happened. And that's what kills me the most. The sun was getting brighter. Your brother was happy.
But on September of 2004, he was gunned down by a supposed best friend on a Brooklyn street.
My mom was calling me. And so as I answer the phone, she's telling me, you know, where are you? And then I'm like, why? What's going on? She's like, I need you to come home. I need you to come home now.
They said that somebody had gotten shot on 2nd Street. And I came home and I said to my mom, did you hear that somebody got shot on 2nd Street? And my mother's face was just, it wasn't right. And I came and I said, what's the matter? And she goes, you know the person who got shot on 2nd Street. And I was like, I do? I said, who was it? And she just started crying. And she said, Leroy. And my heart just stopped.
Yeah, I was 14 when it happened, yeah. It's strange because when you're 14 or whenever you're a kid or whenever, at any age in your life, you'd never think like something like this would ever happen. Especially at the funeral, it's like, it was like I had like my best friend taken away, in a sense.
When we opened the doors to the funeral home, and 20 feet down, I saw Mac in a coffin. I never thought I would see that. I never thought I would see my brother in a coffin. This is somebody that I grew up with. This is somebody that I had so many laughs with. This is somebody that was like my friend before my brother because of our age difference. This person decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna kill you. I went to the car, pulled out a pistol, and chased my brother zigzag up the street, and shot him, got him down on the leg, got him down on the neck, and then proceeded to execute my brother.
The shooter then fled to Arizona, where 3 months later he was found and indicted for murder. He was then tried and convicted to 25 years to life in prison. What things got you through this tough time?
Oh my God, God.
Oh my God, God.
Yeah. Oh my God, God. I mean, there were times that I felt guilty for having fun. I hold into my faith, which tells me that God says it's going to be all right. There's a reason for everything. I have no idea why, what, but it is.
August 2001. I began to write a book. I wanted to take some highlights from my work, which I believe best describes our experience. The way out. For me, the way out was respecting Mac's decision to stand up for himself. He did what he felt he had to do. Physical death is a chance you take sometimes when you take a stand. A real stand. People like Mac, my son, they don't easily back down. They tell the truth. What is truth? The way things really are.
I have in my room like a little shrine set up with the mass card and pictures of us and rosary beads and pictures of an angel. And every night when I go to bed, I look at him. And I know he's looking at me. And I just ask him to be strong and to make the Mets win.
And it's like, you know, I say to myself, how do I explain who Mac was to my kids? How do I explain who Mac is to your kids, you know? How do you keep him alive in the future, you know, in my future? That's things that I think about.
Here I am in Brooklyn, on 2nd Street, between 6th Avenue and 5th Avenue, the spot where my son Mac was mortally wounded. Well, as for me, it's a moment of feeling that I've overcome, that my family has overcome, by the mere fact that I can stand here in this spot and speak without fainting and falling on the ground here in grief. After all, heaven is a place for overcomers. That's what God said. And I've overcome some very bad things.
Have faith in God for me and just concentrate on the good times. Because in the end, that's all you can do.
Faith helps you to connect the dots, you know, and I think that that's how I'm gonna live my life, you know. I just gotta take it one day at a time. You know, it's not one day that goes by that I don't think about Mac. That's never gonna change. I don't care if I have Alzheimer's. It's never gonna change. I'll probably be like to my husband, "Who's it? Honey, who are you? Where's Mac?" There he is. And he's like, "I don't see him. Oh, I must be getting old. I don't know. I see angels and stuff. I don't know." You know, there's never gonna be a day. But I'm gonna be alright.
I'm here with filmmaker Wyatt Maker, whose film Holding Up is a very touching, I would even say raw film about the loss of his brother. How soon after your brother passed away did you actually make the film?
My brother passed in September of 2004, so I started making the film around same time in 2006 for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And how did the film contribute to your family's healing?
Getting my family to open up in front of the camera and speak their hearts out for an hour was very difficult, but gaining that, I think each one of my family members was cued into how strong they were individually, you know.
Well, the film obviously showed that your mother is very resilient, your father is very resilient. Now I understand you're planning a follow-up to Holding Up. What do you plan to explore in the follow-up to this piece?
I set out to do the first film to basically, you know, document my family's strength, right? And, you know, to pretty much use my family's story as a blueprint for other people to survive, you know, similar tragedies in their lives. You know, with the second film, I wanted to go a little deeper than that. I wanted to examine, you know, where we were as a unit, how, you know, who we are as a people. I say with my art, good art always answers the puzzles of life. And I think those are the things that, you know, I'm definitely trying to highlight and, you know, definitely trying to document.
Well, Wyatt, thank you very much, man, for sharing your story with us.
Absolutely.
All right. Up next is Wyatt Maker's follow-up to Holding Up.
Try. Can you trust a try to do the right thing, do or die? Some agree it's a calling from on high to what's already deep inside. It is written, deep calls unto deep. They used to say nothing to it but to do it. You can't change, you and I. It's the calling to do the right thing. It's on our side. That's the answer to the question. So why ask why? My life is a story of sacrifice. Sacrifice. The story of my life. It is an undeniable fact that I was not granted quality time to be with my children, my family. Yet I was placed in harm's way, protecting the lives and rights of others all the while. Yes, I was a first responder for nearly 2 decades for the city of New York. Yes, one of New York's finest. Yet I was denied prime time to be with my children for nearly 9 years. My family. I did not know then what I know now. Thank God, who gave me a heart for living what I learned. Nothing beats a failure but a try. A saying out of Harlem when I was young. It's been said biology is destiny. I believe a calling is destiny. It's a destination. It takes you places. Here I am, here we are, at this place, on this day, and the place where my children were educated, doing this right now. It's amazing. Can you trust a try? Yes.
I definitely can say that my faith has supersized, if that makes any sense. From the first time we had the interview was 2 years, and at that point I was able to acknowledge the fact that, you know, there's a God and He knows best, and I understood what it meant by God works in mysterious ways. I'm definitely a different person than I was 6 years ago, than I was 2 years ago. And I'm very happy at the person that I've become, and I look forward to the person I'm going to be, because I'm able to handle trials and tribulations differently in my life than I would have ever imagined I would 4 years ago, 6 years ago. You know, we're in a recession, so God forbid if I was to lose my job, it won't be the end of the world, because I know that God has got me, He always has, and He never will leave me. So, you know, it's about faith and trust. So those go together, and that's where my strength comes from. You can't live broken. To overcome means that someone who has went through a trial and has survived. Okay. And that's me.
I would say that as he was coming up, I wish we had more time to bond, as that was not the case, and more time to share the life experience man to man. I can tell you what he said to me about a month before he moved on. He said that he appreciated me being in his life and that I did a good job in raising him.
I am actually showing this, and everybody should be very grateful, because this is not very flattering. But we graduated 8th grade together. Yeah. Yes, that's me. I know that I look fabulous. We were joined at the hip from the day that we met. We were pretty much inseparable. When Jen started driving, we took the car, and her mother would ask Jen to do something, and of course Jen would, I'll take the car and do it, but she didn't know she was coming down the block to get me. We were going all over the neighborhood. We'd go to Ruby's to get Chinese food, and we somehow ended up in Flatbush, Harlem, all over the place, because that's what we did. When I do say my prayers and I do thank God for things and you know, need a little help or need some encouragement, Mac is definitely one of the people that I talk to. I like to think when I need somebody that they're there. And I did ask him for help at my real estate test, and I did pass.
Awesome.
My Mets didn't win, but I passed the real estate test. He made his life into a positive. He was so positive at the end, and just doing positive things and getting things done and getting things established, and that's as good as a role model as I could ever think. But I just gotta try.
Try. Can you trust a try to do the right thing, do or die? Some agree it's a calling from on high to what's already deep inside. It is written, deep calls unto deep. They used to say nothing to it but to do it. You can't change, you and I. It's the calling to do the right thing. It's on our side. That's the answer to the question. So why? Ask why.
There's a saying that nobody's perfect, but it's been our experience that the closest thing to perfection is maturity. Perfection itself the word, has ancient meanings that are closely related to the word maturity. And that's exactly what has happened to us. You know, through this process and through this event, we've been matured into better and stronger people. And that's something that I am definitely proud of.
That's it for this week. Join us next time for more unfiltered voices of Brooklyn youth on Real Works.